Okay, I believe I'm audible now. Can you hear me? So if you can hear me on the chat area, drop an emoji sign. We are getting started now. Sorry for the break in transmission. I was talking, I was muted. Telegram technology. Okay, so I'm getting started. The recording is on, the live streaming is on, and we are happy to have everybody on board. So if you can hear me, drop an emoji on the chat area. Okay, yeah, I'm audible. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I can see two emojis. That means I'm audible. Okay. Yes, I'm audible. Okay, so welcome everyone to today's section on the Agulite Blockchain Week. So this is a wonderful one. We are trying as much as possible to make blockchain inclusive for everybody, irrespective of your background, irrespective of your level of literacy, irrespective of where you're coming from. Blockchain is a technology that is looking to revolutionize the technology space as we now see it. Yes, it is. There's a lot of hype around it, but that is why we are here. We are here to demystify and break down what it means to play in this field. Okay, so thank you and welcome once more. So going straight to the point, I would like to do a little introduction. So for everybody, yes, apart from the section that we are having today, you are meant to also network with your colleagues. We are trying as much as possible to bring in people from different countries, not just Nigeria where we are based. We have people from India. We have a few people from Singapore, Australia joining in, especially the guest panelists from Myanmar, India, Singapore, and Australia. So try as much as possible to utilize the opportunity to network, because this section, this week, is meant to take us off on blockchain technology as we know it. Okay, welcome and stay tuned. Okay, so I would like to start by talking about why we are all here. Blockchain technology. Very straightforward. Now, we have a lot of things in store for us this week. Yes, we are calling it the blockchain week, but it only comprises of 3 days. The 3 days packed sections where we have, starting from the introduction, where we have an outline of what we are going to get, and followed by a little technical section where we get a nosedive into what it means to be a developer or a creator in the blockchain space, and then down to a more in-depth breakdown of how blockchain technology, or better still, let's leave it at Web 3.0, is actually impacting various industries. Okay, so with that said, we go right into it. Why blockchain? Okay, so I would not go into blockchain technology deep technical analysis without bringing out the point that blockchain technology is built upon the concepts known as Web 3.0. And I believe most of us are already aware of Web 3.0. And today we are going to just give a little brief just to make sure that we are all on the same page. So we can't start without talking about the evolution of the web. That is where we are. Okay, so very straightforward. We started with Web 1.0, which is when the world realized that we can actually connect and share files and share information across the globe, irrespective of where you are. This is the era of static pages where information were sourced, information were distributed on the web, but it was mainly not reactive. It was straightforward one way. You share information and that person receives it without acting on those information. Then down to Web 2.0, where it was driven by content. Users had the ability to drive the contents of the web. These are the eras of Facebook, Twitter, social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, where we drive the content and we actually kind of own the content we receive and consume in the web. Down to where we are now, Web 3.0. Yes, there's a hype around it. Yes. Is it something that is quite interesting getting into? Yes. Web 3.0 in a nutshell is just a decentralized but secure internet. So the picture says a lot of things around here. It's just a decentralized but secure internet. Decentralized in the sense that you own your data, you own what is being distributed. There is transparency. You know what and what you are getting out of it. And everything is open for you to see. Yes, there are a lot of with the Web 2.0, you had a lot of middlemen handling the content and your data. But with Web 3.0, the middleman is completely cut off, where you interact directly with your peer, you interact directly with the web. Okay, so with that said, let us move on. We are getting to a part where we not just understand Web 3.0 as it is, and as I'm going forward, I would also like us to share our opinions. And there will be questions. Yes, it's going to be a 3-day section. Today is mainly to be the introduction, but we would also like to get your feedback as we roll out a power pattern 3-day sections for introduction to blockchain technology. Okay, so now that we are all conversant with why blockchain, what's the web, how it evolved from Web 1 to Web 2 to Web 3, we are going to dive into the core reason why we are looking at blockchain technology. And the very first why cannot be overemphasized, the opportunities. Now, the opportunities provided by blockchain technology is nothing to underestimate. Now, it provides around a lot of spheres, but we are going to just narrow down between 4 different spheres. We have the smart contracts. This is the technical aspect of blockchain technology. This gives us the ability to predefine the rules and predefine what happens on the web, cutting out the middleman entirely and giving us a sense of security that this has been agreed on and this is exactly what we are going to get out of the end of the tunnel when you carry out a transaction or when you carry out an activity on the web. Now, more details will be laid on this. Let's not go into more technicals. We have our CTO who will be giving us a more technical view to the technical aspect of blockchain development, the person of Chigozie Ofoji. He will be coming in very soon, later on during the section. Next up, we have the digital currency. Yes, we all have heard about the whole fuzz around cryptocurrencies. 2, 3, 4 years ago, it would have been like a fuzz, but now it is one of the hottest industry in the world. Now, cryptocurrency have made a lot of millions between the year of 2020 and 2022. So if you are still saying that this is the buzz, you better rethink your choices. I'm not saying that it is the only way to get out there and get involved in blockchain technology, but I'm saying it is large enough for it not to be ignored. So around the digital cryptocurrency, digital currencies, we have things, industries around e-commerce, global payments, and you can see all of them well listed out there. These are just a few, just a nutshell on how the opportunities blockchain provide around these various industries. Next, we have record keeping. Now, the importance of record keeping, the importance of data in our core not be stressed enough. And with blockchain, the opportunity to properly keep our data is way off the roof. And that is why most industries are investing heavily in blockchain technology. And that is why we are here. Finally, we talk about security. Security is one that you shouldn't take very lightly. Blockchain technology provides an extra level of security. Because of its transparent nature, you tend to know what you get. Yes, there are news and there are reports of hacking of some blockchain technology here and then, but well, this technology, technology is an enabler. There's always the right side and the left side. There's always a bad side and a flip side to every technology out there. Now, this leads us to why we are here. Who brought us here? Why we are putting together this community, and that is Agulite. Now, Agulite provides a learning space for anybody that's willing to get into the Web 3.0 space. Now, we do that in two very simple steps. We look at people coming into the space and we match them with experts already in the space. Now, there are ways this can be done. There are ways like we are gamifying the learning space to make sure that people coming into the space don't get bored by learning. We know how rigid the learning can be. And then we finally do a project-based approach of learning. So for anybody here who is willing to get into the blockchain development space, as you see the opportunities that are being laid out, we are here to provide the resources, the playground, sort of say, or more like the leverage for you to quickly get onto blockchain technologies and even thrive as a blockchain developer. Now, with that said, we'll see portrays more on why Agulite is there and who we are. Next up, second, and for me, I think is one of the most intriguing reasons why blockchain is a thing in this our current era. Transparency. Okay, so transparency is nothing to be tried to be laid we talked about lightly. Now, transparency is one that everybody is very conscious of. And blockchain technology provides a level of transparency that has not been seen before in the whole internet evolution. Okay, so with that said, I know there are a lot of us that are new to this space. Probably there are also a lot of us that have been thriving in this space because we provide, as Agulite, we provide a learning space for both those that are coming new and for the experts. So within this community, you will find those that are already thriving and experts within their own respective fields. That are blockchain developers, blockchain project managers, we have NFT experts, we have cryptocurrency traders, those that are coming into the field as well as those that are experts. So try as much as possible to relate. Now, for those that are already in the field, you understand the level of transparency blockchain brings to the table. That is second, and for me, one of the most important reasons why blockchain technology is actually going to go very far. Okay, so the transparency level, like I said, is open. For instance, someone, if you are aware of prominent blockchain applications out there, something like Kingswap or something like the actual Binance Smart Chain network, you can easily go and you can easily go online and look at how the code is being structured, what are the functions being called, and you can, this is where it gets crazy. You can actually create a clone of your own DApp within minutes. That is how transparent the blockchain technology is. Okay, so finally, we'll talk about a little overview of what we're expecting for these 3 days. Okay, so we have a lot of things in store. Today, we are looking to talk about a little introduction to our audience. We talk about blockchain. That's what we are doing. We do a little development. We want at the end of the section, most of us here, we have the ability to even start as the blockchain developer. Now, this is a huge opportunity because we know it is not easy to start. Yes, there are resources out there, but you can barely see people that will connect you with people that are already in the game, and as well as provide learning resources and an environment for you to grow and scale. That is what we wish to present and provide for this community. Now, yes, it is a growing and thriving community, but we also need everybody to participate actively in the community. So there will be a little development section. Yes, second day is going to be mainly for the second day, but there will be a little development section today. For the second day, we have our first panel section. We are going to be having with us a top respected blockchain enthusiast here with us. Yes, from Nigeria. He has already worked. He's currently working with the blockchain, a crypto payment. He's currently the lead and CEO of a crypto trading company here in Nigeria, crypto payment company here in Nigeria. And then we also have with him a lawyer, a legal advisor who is quite versed in the legal implications of working with blockchain technology. We are going to have a panel section with both of them where we dissect. Okay, first of all, you are thriving in this space. What does it take to get to the level of where you are? What is involved as a country, as a continent? What are the players? Who are the players that are going to come into the play? And then finally, the legal aspect, because irrespective of whatever you are doing in this space, you have to take note of the legal repercussion of whatever you are doing. Yes, that is what is the kind of section we are going to have tomorrow. Like we said, apart from the panel section, we're also going to have development. At the end of these 3 days, anybody that is willing, anybody that wants to start as a blockchain developer is actually going to get started. That is the plan. And then finally, on the third day, we have our second section where we have top industry leaders across various countries. And we have our partners in Myanmar who will be joining us, our partner in India will be joining us, and finally, we have a final partner in Singapore will be joining us for a panel section where they dissect the reason why you should consider shifting from moving from a profession in the normal Web 2 to a profession in the Web 3.0 space. Okay, so that is what we have in store for the 3 days. And with that said, if you have not invited your colleagues, if you have not invited your friends, try as much as possible. Yes, today's section is being streamed and it's being recorded. Yes, but tomorrow's section you wouldn't want to miss out live on how and what is going down. Okay, so with that said, I will be introducing our CTO and the person of Mr. Chigozio Froji. He will be carrying us on a little technical section for today. Yes, we are not going to end without giving us a little insight on how to even start as a blockchain developer. Okay, so Chigozio Froji, we are honored to have you on board. So little profile for Chigozio, he has been a senior developer for the past 5 years. He is a personal mentor of mine. Yes, a little bit stubborn at times, but he's thriving in the space. He has built projects and worked with people across multiple industries, including the blockchain technology space. And we're honored to have him to take us on a little technical section on what it takes to become a blockchain developer. Okay, Chigozie. Okay, Chigo, can you unmute yourself? Yeah, yeah. If you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Um, Good morning, Marcellus. Good morning, everyone. So it's nice being here this morning to talk about this awesome technology, blockchain technology. So I don't know. Can anyone hear me?
Okay, so we can
So if you
hear
can
you.
hear,
Yeah,
okay,
is
that's
it?
nice. That's nice.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah, it's better now. Okay.
Okay, so I thank you very much once again for the privilege, because I see this as a privilege. Talking about um a technology on which the future of finance is being built on. You get, so thank you once again. So I think you've really done a very good introduction on this technology. You've really done well to talk about the benefit it offers, different aspects. So I would like to just throw more light on something really very, very important. So why do we think many persons are adopting this technology? Yes, you've said it all. Security, scalability, and the rest of them. I'd just like to throw more light on security and immutability. You know, the way this blockchain network, or let me say the blockchain technology works, is you put a record somewhere that everybody can see, and that record can't just be modified without you knowing the source of the modification. Yeah, so that's where the security
and the transparency comes in. Okay, so many companies or many institutions are adopting this technology because it presents that transparency that is required in so many application areas where you want whatever that happens should be visible to anyone that is having access to the public ledger. Like, let's say, for instance, when someone transfers the currencies from one address to the other, you'll be able to see that transaction from anywhere. There is no restriction. You get, and once that transaction has been mined, don't mind me, I will explain some of these technical things. Once it has been mined on the blockchain, you can't change it. It's not as if what we have in some institutions where someone can just come in and just mutate data anyhow. It doesn't work like that, because as the name implies, blockchain, they have different records.
They have different records that are chained together using what is called cryptography. So there is no way of you modifying the previous record because of how the technology is being structured. So this is a very, very important and very powerful technology that I see
driving the future of finance and also bringing innovations in the field of health. Like I was discussing with some persons last year about
working on a health project, and they were saying something like there are institutions where medical records are kept and some persons come to tamper with it. So with this technology, such issues will be gone. Believe me. So this is a very awesome technology that I believe, even if you are not coming in as a tech person, it is worth exploring. It's worth exploring because it's going to be a game changer. It's already changing how things are being done in several places.
The fact that you can even do transfer funds from one point to another, cross borders, without any intermediary, that one alone should be
A good sign that yes, this technology has come to really make life easier for everyone, or easier for humanity. So I welcome you once again to this event. Believe me, before the end of this event, you will
appreciate what this technology is doing and what it's going to do.
So I believe I'm audible, right?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't want to sound too technical because this blockchain technology or blockchain development has a lot to it. It has a lot to it. So um thank God this event is for 3 days. So hopefully, as we move from today to the third day, we'll try to understand some of the basics when it comes to development. So I believe most of us here have some technical background, be a UI UX person, maybe a product manager, a developer. So having been in these areas, I think you are in the right place to learn the right thing. You understand? So I just want to say something, because I wouldn't like to. We won't even cover everything today because of how broad this topic is. So basically, I'm going to give an intro into one thing that makes this technology very, very powerful. Yet there is one thing that makes this technology very, very, very powerful. I don't know. Most of you must have heard of something called a smart contract, which are codes that live on the blockchain, or self-executing codes that live on the blockchain, which are immutable. Yeah, as the name implies, they are like contracts. So whenever they are there, you can't just change them. And they determine how, let's say, two parties do something. But before I dive deep into that, I would like to, give a brief introduction to the whole concept around being a blockchain developer and what it means. So basically, when you say blockchain developer, it's of two flavors. Again, so we have core blockchain developers, and we have the smart contract developers. These are two different kinds of blockchain developers we have. So basically, the core developers are those that are into actually building the main architecture of the blockchain network. You get, like, for instance, now if you know of Bitcoin, Bitcoin is a blockchain network. If you know of Binance or Ethereum, these are various blockchain networks. So the core blockchain developer is the one that is responsible for building these actual networks, while the smart contract developer is just someone who builds on the existing network. He doesn't build the network, but he develops applications that run on the network. Like, he builds what we call decentralized applications that run on these blockchain networks. So these persons don't actually do the core thing of building the architecture, but just build on it. They're also called blockchain developers. So basically, in this for these 3 days, during the practical sessions or during the technical sessions, as I might call it, we might just be looking at smart contract development. What do you need to know to be a smart contract developer? What are the tools you will be required to have to be a smart contract developer, and so many other things. Yeah. So apart from these two fields I've mentioned, we have other ones like we have some persons who specialize in just designing the user interface of blockchain applications. That's the blockchain UI UX persons. We have some persons specializing in managing blockchain-based projects. That's the product managers. And we have even blockchain marketers, people that specialize in marketing blockchain-based projects, and the rest of them. Just as what you have in Web 2, you have different fields in tech under Web 2. We also have them in Web 3, which is based on blockchain. But basically, I want you to understand that when it comes to development, you have two core persons, or let me say, you have two categories: the core developers and the smart contract developer. So it's all about you writing code that will now work on the blockchain network. You get. So I said something earlier that I would like to talk about. That I've said something about it. I'd like to talk about what makes this technology very powerful. When Bitcoin came out, so Bitcoin proved to us that you could do cross-border payments without having an intermediary. Yeah, so it was basically for cryptocurrency transaction. You just transfer funds from one country to the other without having a middleman to take away charges. Let me put it that way, because that's what I think they do. They help you with some features and they take a share of what you are transferring to their pocket. This thing called smart contracts was not initially built on top of Bitcoin, but when Ethereum came out, Ethereum brought this very innovative technology where you have a blockchain and you can now write different codes that are immutable and that will run on this blockchain network. So that is why we have several applications running on the blockchain, financing different things. If maybe you've heard of something like Pancake Swap, and Avi, and the rest of them. So these are like different applications that are built on the blockchain network. We know that blockchain is basically a public ledger, is a transparent record of information. But Ethereum now came and introduced something that enables developers to, write on the blockchain. So just like extending
the power of this technology, because just without the smart contract, the what it offers might not really be much. It might be limited, but because of these smart contracts, so we now have expansion. We now have possibilities. You can even decide to build a bank. You don't have an office, but you have a bank where people can deposit money. Yeah, so now that thing you are building is the actual smart contract. So it has several application areas. It has several application areas. Just as if you can think it, it's possible. But don't overthink. I believe there are things that might not really be possible, but most things are really possible when the Bible says it. So if you can actually think it and it's feasible, you can work on it. Yet I've seen where people manage real estate using smart contracts. They write the logic of how the buyer comes in, how the seller gets his fund. Now write this code and now deploy it on the blockchain, and nobody can cheat that your code unless maybe the developer makes any mistake. So I want to understand something, that when we hear of smart contracts are just codes that run on the blockchain network. And whenever you have them on that network deployed, you cannot change them. That is why they are very powerful. So a hacker cannot just come and change the code. Now, if maybe you've heard of several hacks happening in the blockchain space, it's because of some bugs that were unattended to maybe during development. Because when you write this code and you deploy them, you can't change them. You maybe made any mistake that a hacker can exploit. So that would be a means of them taking out funds from the smart contract or the blockchain network. But you should understand that the hackers are not really hacks on the network itself, but on the funds that are locked into the smart contracts. I don't know if hope I'm carrying everybody along, and I hope you all can hear me. Marcellus, hope you can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can continue, yes.
Okay, so now being a blockchain developer entails a lot of things. Yeah, so like some persons will say it's preferably coming from the programming background, but that is not just it. You will not be coming from a programming background and still do well in this space. It's very, 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 very possible. But you coming from a programming background has a way of making it easier. So, because when I dived into blockchain, it was easier for me because
I was already coding before then. Yeah, but if maybe
you've not coded before, you just speak one or two languages, just build a basic knowledge on it, then I'm moving to blockchain development. So if maybe you are coming from a programming background, you could just move into learning Solidity. Solidity is a programming language that is mostly used. Is like very, very popular, the most popular programming language that is used to build or to write smart contracts. I believe you get me. So there are other programming languages for writing smart contracts, but this one is very popular. And whoever that is trying to get into this field, I will advise the person to look into this language. That's if you are coming from a programming background. But if peradventure maybe you are not from a technical background, some persons will say, you can just learn Solidity straight without learning any other programming language. But I will advise the person to first of all learn JavaScript. Very important. Though you must not know JavaScript to the core. Yeah, you must not know JavaScript to the core. But you learning JavaScript will have a way of helping you. So after this blockchain week, I believe most of us know that we have We have a blockchain training session that's going to last for 5 months. So we intend to make the learning process very easy for you, whether you're coming from a blockchain, a programming background or not. So we intend to make the blockchain training very easy for you to understand whatever you need to understand to launch out into the market. So as a beginner, have a basics of JavaScript. When you learn it, you could pick one or two resources from the internet. There are several videos on JavaScript on YouTube. You could make use of free code camp. Free code camp is a very powerful resource online because one thing I like about them is the fact that while learning, you can't, because they divide the learning, the whole package into different modules. So you can't move from one module to the other unless you are done taking the assessment of the current module you are. So that means if you are on the 10th module, it's assumed from module 1 to 9, you've successfully understood it. It's well understood by you. So that's one thing I like about them. So you could make use of free code camp to pick some basic knowledge about JavaScript. I believe I'm well understood. So now, whether you are coming from a programming background or not, having done your basics, I think now I'm going to sound somehow more technical. So some persons who ask me, what are the things I need to know, or what are the tools that are required for me to start writing blockchain applications or start writing smart contracts. So actually, there are several tools depending on how you want to do it. But I'm going to try to make things very, very simple for us. There's an advanced way of you being a blockchain developer, because there are routes you might follow and you get to use so many tools just to automate several processes. But let's assume they're all starting. So various tools are there. You can just pick them. So as a programmer, we know that you write codes and you might need, or let's say you need an environment to write your code. You need like a text editor. So your text editor is very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. So for those of us who have written codes before, when it comes down to something called VS Code or Sublime Text, it's just a software that helps you write your code. It helps you to write your code. So you enter your code, you can save it, come back and edit it. That's what it does. But now one thing is when you are developing smart contracts, when you are developing these smart contracts, if you decide to write your code in a text editor like VS Code, you might need some extra tools. I don't want to call them advanced tools. You might need some extra tools to configure how maybe you deploy your contract, because after writing your smart contract, you don't just leave it there. You need to push it somewhere where you can execute the code. I believe it's clear. So there's one online text editor. This one called Remix. So Remix is an online text editor where you can write your smart contract code. So instead of you using VS Code, so you use Remix to write your smart contract code. Now, why am I saying Remix? Because on Remix, after writing your code, from there you can do a setup to deploy that your code to any of your selected blockchain network, whether it's a private network you set up on your own, or maybe a public blockchain network like Binance or Ethereum. And so for a beginner, that's a very good place to start from. Remix should be your text editor. I believe it's clear. So now, having talked about Remix, there's another thing we need to understand. There's this other tool called MetaMask. MetaMask is a wallet. Just as we have our wallet in our pockets where we keep our funds. So MetaMask is like a wallet where you can store your cryptocurrencies. You know, cryptocurrencies are money because they have value. So you need a place where you can keep them. So with MetaMask, you keep your funds safe. Okay. So because these cryptocurrencies are digital assets, so that's where they are being kept. Just something physical you keep in your pocket. So why do we need MetaMask? Now, I want us to let me just take it through a little bit because it might really get somehow confusing. I don't know, for most of us have um transferred cryptocurrency before from maybe one account to the other. You observe that as you do the transfer, you are being charged what is called the gas fee or the transaction fee. Now, the truth is that on blockchain networks, if you want to add information on these blockchain networks, you pay for adding that information. You can add information on the blockchain network. You can also read information out of the blockchain network. So you reading information, that is you trying to access already existing information, you don't need to pay anything, it's free. But if you want to add your own record on the blockchain, whenever you are like adding a record on this blockchain network, you pay gas fee. Now, when you are done writing your smart contract code, you are deploying. Now that deployment is you're trying to like push your code to a blockchain network. Now, just like what happens in normal Web 2, where after writing, let's say your back end or your front end, you need to host your code on a server. So that's what happens. You need to, like, let's say, host your smart contract on a blockchain network. So now that hosting or deployment, you are actually adding a record on that blockchain network, and that will require you to pay for gas fee. So you need MetaMask to pay for that gas fee. And whenever you use a MetaMask after writing your code to pay for that gas fee, you need some amount of funds. Okay, so now it all depends on where you are deploying to. So if you're deploying to, let's say, Ethereum mainnet, because most of these blockchains, they have what they call the testnet and the mainnet. So the testnet, as the name implies, is where you test your code. You get, so in these networks, you don't actually spend real money. So you can easily request for free money, though it doesn't have value. You request for free tokens with which you can pay a transaction fee. But if it's on a real network like their mainnet, that is where you might need you need the actual token that has value to pay for the transaction fee. So let's assume we are connected to testnet. So don't be confused. As we proceed, I will highlight how you configure your MetaMask to connect to whether testnet or mainnet. But just know that for the two of them, you will need to pay gas fee, and that is why you need the tokens. Like, for instance, now if you are deploying to the Ethereum network, you need Ethereum. That's their token called Ether. You need it to deploy to this network. So if you pick their testnet, you just need the testnet version of the Ether, which you can easily get. You can get for free from what they call a faucet. So having gotten the tokens in your MetaMask, you can now push your code to the blockchain network. If you don't have these tokens on your MetaMask, you can't push your code because, as I said earlier, you need funds to keep your record on this blockchain network. And another thing that MetaMask helps you do is it helps you to sign the transaction. Just like you are trying to keep a record. Now the blockchain must know who is trying to keep that record. You understand? So that is why you need to sign that, okay, I am the one keeping this record. And there's a mark that, yes, so person has kept this record. And you can do all those signing of transactions using MetaMask. Hope I'm not confusing anybody. Maybe if
You are okay. Okay, so now
let me just stop at this point. Let me just stop at this point and possibly answer a few questions based on how far I've confused some persons.
Okay, so Chigozie, thank you very much.
Very slowly right now.
Yes, yes. So the questions, we have a bunch of them. I think your network is cracking a bit. Can you hear me?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Hello, Chigozie, are you with us? Yes, I can hear
Yes,
you. Yes, yes, yes.
I
So
can hear you very well.
you got a little bit technical there.
Okay,
We appreciate.
okay, but can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
yes, I can hear you. I
Okay,
can
so
hear
let me
you.
just
Yeah,
say
but I
something.
was
I
saying
know
that.
I said something earlier that yeah, what is involved in blockchain development is really much. I don't know. I'm even trying to, hide some things from the surface so that you don't get to scare people away. But believe me, as you undergo this 5 months training, hmm, you get to understand everything. You can't just learn blockchain development in one day. You can't even learn it in 3 days. You understand? So as we get involved in this 5 months training, we will understand everything you need to know to be a blockchain developer. Not just even writing the smart contract, because after writing your smart contract, you will need a way of interacting with the smart contract. So you still learn how to write front and do integrations that talk to the smart contract. So don't be scared. If you are really interested in this field, don't be scared. Don't mind all the gibberish I've been saying. Actually, I've been trying to make things easier, but just that you can't you can't really hide some things if you are trying to make people understand what you're saying. You get. So actually, I just mentioned two of the tools, but I think we can attend to some questions right now. So, Mr. Marcellus,
Yes, thank you very much for the lively section, the lively and highly technical section you had with us. We truly appreciate that. Although you lost me there when you entered mainnet and testnet, and when you entered remix, I was somewhere in between the fence of either leaving this section or deciding to move it to another time. Okay, so thank you very much. So that is why we try as much as possible to break it down. So anybody here that wants to get into the blockchain space, we're going to have a highly broken down but technical section in the evening. So it is called a blockchain week. It is not that everything is going to be clustered in one section. Yes, not everything is going to be. This section is going to be an introduction where we give us a highlight of what we're expecting for today, tomorrow, and finally on the Thursday, 21st of April. Okay, so thank you, Chigozie. For those that are just joining us, you are joining in for the Agulite Blockchain Week, where we pick up the Web3 space, we look at blockchain technology, and we try as much as possible to break it down to the barest minimum where a layman might decide to get into the space. Not just get into it, but to try. Now, Agulite, on our own part, creates a learning environment that connects the users, the individuals, with experts already thriving in the space. Okay, so thank you very much, Chigozie, for the the section. We'll have a little 30 to 1 hour section this evening, 4 p.m. GMT plus one. Okay, so for our own time is 4 p.m. West African time. You can say 3 p.m. UTC time. So depending on where time, any time zone you are joining in from, but it is 4 p.m. West African time. So Engineer Chigozie is going to take us through, going to give us a little. I know he gave us an overview. I was honestly, some of us are also trying to get into the terms. He's going to prepare a little presentation and just give us an overview of what we're expecting for the technical section. He will also introduce us, a fun fact, he will introduce us to a well compiled 1 week part, free part for anybody that is looking to get into the blockchain space. A free part, very huge. Yes, it has been compiled in Slack. It's as easy as putting in your email and just getting started in the blockchain space. And after that 1 week session, you should have handled your first mini project as the blockchain developer. So all will happen this evening. And as we carry on that in the evening, let us also be aware of every other thing we have in store for us today, tomorrow, and next tomorrow. Okay, so like I said, before we conclude this section, I would like to thank everybody that joined in. If your people are not yet here, do take it as a point of contact to reach out to them. We have something in store for everybody from different walks of space. So we're having a session this evening, 4 p.m., 4 to 5 p.m. West African time. Tomorrow we are having a panel section where we are bringing in a legal advisor and a top blockchain engineer. He's the CEO of the company, a crypto payment company here in the country. We'll be having a panel session to discuss the implication of working in this space because they are active participants in the space. And then on the third day, we're having our second panel section where we have our partners across the world, Myanmar, Australia, and Singapore, come in to give an enlightening discussion on why you should consider the profession in the Web 3.0 space. Okay, so thank you very much for coming in today. If you are interested in the technical aspect, which I think our job, most of us will be getting phone part on the chat area, the average fee for a blockchain developer globally is between 99.3.5K to $152,000 annually. That is average. Entry $90 per annum. So it's a huge opportunity, and the rise in demand for blockchain developers is rapidly growing from adding 30% to 33.5% over the past year. That is the demand for blockchain developers. So we'll be dropping the fun pass on the group. We'll be dropping questions and engagement on the group. If you are interested in starting your career or profession as a blockchain developer, meet us back by 4 p.m. where we dive deep into a few technical analysis. It's like a startup, a starting journey into blockchain development. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming in. If you have a question, we'll continue our conversation down on the group. See you by 4 p.m. today. Do have a lovely day. Do take care.